You just buy a microphone. That's it.
You buy a
all you gotta do.
microphone, you set up your space, you do this, you do that, you find people, and you go. Welcome to Behind the Slate, where I sit down with fellow voice actors and other industry artists to have a fireside chat. I'm your host, Christian O'Boyle. If you'd like to know more about me, please check out my website at christianoboyle.com. In this episode, I'll be talking with Megan Taylor, an American voice actor, singer, musician, and game dev. She has provided voice acting and script editing for the popular YouTube series It's a Trap by Reese's Skater. She voices for Wings of Fire, graphic novel dub, and many other indie animations, visual novels, and podcasts. Megan is also a co-creator, game dev, voice actor for the indie game The First Event, which is set for pre-alpha in the next few months. On her YouTube channel, she shares her self-writing and song covers. How's your day been?
Right.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just getting over a cold, so I usually don't sound this nasally, if you were wondering. I know I sound pretty like Franny right now, but I swear this isn't like my normal resting voice.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah.
No, getting sick is pretty bad. Lily, our daughter, had a really bad, deep chest cough and fever and all this stuff. And Jesse and I are like, don't get sick, don't get sick, don't get sick, don't get sick. And we didn't get sick, thankfully. I think I got a little
good.
Just like a little, but I was like, whew, avoided that one because that one did not seem fun. And I had like,
no.
Yeah, and you're like, I have about a week's worth of auditions or projects that I have to voice for, and I can't get sick.
That's not a good thing in our profession, honestly.
Unless you're trying to do a character where you need to sound whiny and or deeper.
That's true. I've been looking at auditions recently, and I've been, just looking to see if maybe there's one that needs to sound like they've been congested for about 50 years.
Yeah.
Didn't come across that.
Oh, darn it.
But, it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah. When I come across the characters where they need to sound nerdy, I throw my retainer.
There you go.
And it creates a little bit of lift. So I was like, you know what? This works.
You do what you gotta do.
It works splendidly. But yeah, getting sick is no fun at all.
I agree.
So what inspired you? Because I'm looking at your stuff.
Yeah.
You're a Jill of all trades. Jill of all trades. You're a Jill of all trades.
Thank you.
And you're a voice actor, singer, musician, and game dev. Let's start. What got you into acting? Like, how did that start?
Gosh, I've been acting since I can remember, really. What really started it was, when you're a kid, you watch, I feel like almost everyone watches cartoons. I would always, reenact the cartoons that I would see. I would reenact those scenes as those cartoons, and I would even try to make those voices of those characters. And then growing up, I got into my local theater at my school. I was in it elementary, middle, high school. I even did acting in college. So it's kind of always been a part of my life, really.
Wow. Okay. So from that, how'd you fall into the voice acting realm? Because I think a lot of people in theater are like, how do you get into voice acting? It's like, you buy a mic and you audition, but how do you fall into it?
That's fair. Right. You just buy a microphone. That's it.
You buy a microphone, you set up your space, you do this, you do that, you find people and you go. They're like, that's a lot. It's like, actually it is.
Yeah. So my whole life I also did choir. I was also a vocal performer as well. And then around the time of high school, I kind of fell off both acting and vocal performance just because, like, for whatever reason, I determined it wasn't really a career path that was like viable. It wasn't like
Mhm.
an actual aspiration. It's like, oh, it was, a childhood dream, but it's not something I could ever attain.
Right.
Um, and then and then my senior year of college, I'm, getting ready to graduate and I'm getting ready to um, go on to grad school because I wanted to be a counselor.
Mhm.
And I had this like cognitive dissonance that happened all in the span of like 1 month where I was like, I don't love what I'm doing. I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't know how to
Mhm.
stop or what to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
So I just completely like threw away all of my grad plans and I did
Mhm.
this like really spur of the moment thing where I applied for the Disney College program, which is a program where if you don't know what it is, you go work for Disney World and you live there in Disney World.
Mhm.
And so I never like expected to do it, but I just wanted to do something back to where I was performing and
Right.
I got accepted, which I was like not expecting at all. So I went there and when I was there, I actually learned about all of the voiceover that Disney does because,
Right.
Disney is a big animation field. So I got to learn all about the voiceover industry from Disney's aspect. And then from there, I just kind of realized that it's the best of both worlds. You get
Yeah.
acting and you get vocal performance. So it was like the two combinations of the things that I love put together.
That's splendid. That's awesome. And I feel that if you're going to make a harsh or a rash change, especially I'm going to college and I'm going to study this, but not anymore, that's the best time to do it when you're kind of still in that transition period. It's when you have a career and a family for say
Mhm.
10, 15 years, and then you go, this might not have been the right choice. So when I was working in the port, my first job, I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to do this for 20 years. So I started looking into carpentry. I looked into this and that and that. My father-in-law
Mhm.
said, "Hey, I heard you're looking for a job. I heard you're interested in this." I'm like, "I don't want to work in the office really." Happens that it was better pay because you don't have to stay. So I ended up transitioning, started working for my father-in-law. Well, my
Mhm.
father-in-law also he's a programmer. He creates software
Yeah.
for a 3D landscape software. So I was doing sales, and I am doing sales and support for the company. But then he
Mhm.
decides, I think a year and a half into me working for them, he goes, "I'm gonna make a game." Okay.
Oh,
So he starts programming a game. I was not sure what he wanted, and then he started. It's turning into a very tower defense. It's a real time strategy tower defense kind of, and it's
oh,
sci-fi. And then he goes, "I think I want to have you and maybe everyone else kind of voice act in the game." I was like, "Sure, I have a microphone. I'll just stick it up in one of the rooms. It'll be totally fine. We can do it." Lo and behold,
of
that's not
course.
how it works. I looked up research and I'm like, "Oh, this is intense. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, I like this." And then
Mhm.
kind of started pursuing it. So I'm
Yeah.
still going to be voicing for the game. We're actually in pre alpha right now.
Mhm.
Um, soon to be alpha. So we're all in the polishing stage. So I'm going to be doing the voice acting very soon for that. And then
Ooh.
yeah, we're hoping this summer to actually release pre-beta or the open beta.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
I know. It's very, very soon. He's hoping July, August-ish for open beta. So that
Ooh, that's
it,
exciting.
it is very exciting. Now, you're also developing a game. Uh,
Mhm.
can you tell people what it's about and kind of how it came to be?
So my my partner is a professor. He lectures and teaches on game development. So he has programmed hundreds of games. This is what he does for his profession. Um, so we kind of got this idea because both of us are really into sci-fi games, are really into horror games specifically. So we got this idea for a zombie game, but there's a lot of zombie games, and so
Yeah.
how do you make a zombie game different from the other ones that are out there?
Mm-hmm.
So the way that we're developing it is we're making it more on the suspense of sound. So you have to rely on your sense of sound and what you can hear around you rather than what you can see, because you're not going to be able to really see
Right.
very much. So it's been really cool because we've gotten to the point where we've gotten voice actors for it, and we have a whole array of zombie voice actors. We have about 10 of them.
Yeah.
We wanted to do that because, and a lot of times zombie games have just like a couple of voice actors doing
Right.
all of the zombie sounds, but I wanted it to sound as full and as, I guess, like zombie-rific as it could
Yeah.
be,
Ver-
so that yeah, you
Versatile.
get the full yeah,
Yeah.
so it doesn't just sound like it's, like 2 zombies coming after you, it's a whole horde. Yeah, so it's really exciting. We're, um we're almost to the pre-alpha phase. We've gotten the voice actors because we've gotten to the point where our story is fully developed and
Mhm.
we're programming it, and we wanted the voice actors to kind of shape the way that we make the game look rather than
Yes.
vice versa. Yeah.
Right. That that is amazing. That's gonna be intense and scary. And you better play in the dark with
Yeah.
headphones on, and you'll feel the
That's
zombies
the only way. That's
in
the only
your
way you can
ear.
play it.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. I'll keep my eye out for that one. Uh, so that kind of just developed by trading words, and just kind of really took off doing that. That's cool.
Mhm.
So what is your main part? You do the voice acting. Do you do the game developing as well? Are you programming?
I am, yes. I'm programming, and I'm also, I don't know what the word is. I guess I'm writing the story basically. We're co-writing it together, and
Yeah.
I'm also doing the details, and I'm formulating how it's going to look, and I
Mhm.
do about half of the programming, and he does the other half, like the bigger, bulkier half, since he does this for a profession.
Right.
I do more of like the lighter half, kind of like the scenery and that sort of thing.
So did you start learning programming because of this, or you already kind of had a knowledge in this field?
I I kind of did, just because like we live together, and he's shown me games that he's developed, and he's like, yeah, this is how you do that and this and whatever. But when we started doing this, I fully got into it. I started using the software more, so I'm definitely more versed in it than I was before.
That is that is awesome. I
Thanks.
I took a programming class in high school,
Hmm.
and mhm, and then for some odd reason, I thought it was going to be a very good idea to take the advanced programming class following. Yeah, I learned very quickly that programming is not my thing because it's very intricate. But we were programming in Java, which was Java was new, so our teacher didn't even really know much about it.
Mm,
And man, the
mhm.
learning a whole new language was bah, doesn't. So I decided, okay, I guess I don't want to be a computer programmer because that's what I wanted to be ever since I was 4. Computer programmer is
Oh,
what I told everyone because my dad worked for Microsoft. So I was like, I'm going to be a computer programmer. And then I took that programming class senior year. So it's not even like I took it sooner. And I went,
right.
I need to change courses because this is not it.
Well, at least, you learned it early enough that you didn't, like, go to school for that, and then
Yeah.
you're, like, in the middle of this, like, "This is
I
not."
signed up and registered for college for it though. I was already accepted into a college. I was going to go for programming.
Mm,
And then I was like, I guess not. So I'm going to be an architect. Well, lo and behold, architecture is not done at that school I was at. So I was like, okay.
perfect.
Then I went to register sophomore year for my next set of classes, and there
Mhm.
was zero art classes. And I was like, nope, nope. I am not going through 4.5 years or whatever of college without a single art class. So
Right.
I transferred from a university to a community college. And I
I mean,
graduated with an associate's. But you know what? I'm very satisfied where I'm at now. Was not even sure when I was then. Like, yeah.
right, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Who cares? You got where you needed to go. It just wasn't, what you
I
planned, but you
had
got
no
there.
idea where I was going. I ended up where I'm at, and I had no idea. So one of the things I tell
Yeah,
people is like, kind of have an idea what you want to do, because if you want to be I don't know, a carpenter, you better not be going to university. You better be going to vocational school. I
right.
later found out that I wanted to do carpentry. Found out I needed to do about 4 or 5 years of carpentry school and vocational training and stuff like that. And I already had a
Mhm.
family and all that stuff. And I was like, that ain't happening. So that's kind of where I ended up now, because I had to figure out. So that's where I was like, kind of have an idea what you want to do, because obviously your choices definitely shape what you're going to do in the future, permanently.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And not permanently, but obviously it'll definitely be more difficult to do. Um,
right.
so you're doing acting now, game deving, um, and you also do you still do stage theater?
I graduated college a couple of years ago, so that was the last time I did stage theater.
Okay,
Where I live now, there's not really opportunity to do it too
right.
much. College was the last big opportunity I had,
Do you miss
but
it? Do you kind of still want to do it?
I I do. I have plans to move to a bigger city in the near future, so I'm hoping once I get somewhere that has a better theater opportunity that I'll be able to jump back into it. I miss it every day. It was, what I started as, a stage actor,
Right.
so but
So what do
I
you feel are some of the differences and similarities between voice acting and stage acting? Because I do stage acting as well.
mhm,
There are definitely differences, but obviously they can tie in and complement each other.
for sure. I mean, the biggest thing that I ran into first was with my demo reel because, when you're a stage actor, you are trained to project pretty much all the time. You're trained, to get your voice across a stage and to an audience.
Mhm.
So even in like smaller, more emotional scenes, you still have to project your voice. Whereas when I was making my demo reel, and especially when I started doing auditioning more frequently, I found that, your microphone is right up to your face. You don't have to be projecting like that all the time, especially with like those more emotional roles. You want to show that subtlety and you want to show that emotion through your variations of your voice. It's not just your projecting.
Mhm.
And especially with like demo reels, that's what, casting directors like to see is can you go from a character that's high energy and projecting to a character that has lower energy and, has a more emotional side, but can you still tell that story without, screaming it into
Yeah.
them? Because I think a lot of people see voice acting as like, things in like anime where you're screaming all the time, where you're just yelling and that's like the whole thing. But, there are those times where you have to be able to act subtly, more
Mhm.
subtly. And so that was definitely one thing that I had to kind of transition to rather than projecting all the time is trying to figure out when to be more subtle and when I needed to use my voice softer and
Mhm.
how to act that way.
Yeah. And what about some of the similarity? Like how does stage acting kind of be brought over into voice acting? How does that benefit?
I think, when you are acting in general, any acting experience is good because the first and foremost thing of voice acting is you're acting. You
Mhm.
have to know how to convey emotion. But the thing is with voice acting, you have to do that without your face because you don't get to show you acting, it's just your voice.
Mhm.
But I think the nice thing about learning to act on stage is that you do still have to make those movements and you still do have to physically act in the booth, even though no one can see you. Because that's the way that you're going to be able to convey that emotion is you can't really like punch things actually, and you can't, do a whole like body slam actually.
Right.
But it's the principle of it. You still have to be able to act with your body in order for it to convey through your voice.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, Efforts is definitely one of my things where I struggle with the most right now. I still get the concept and the idea, but
Hmm.
efforts, I'm still kind of efforts without destroying my voice is something that I'm trying to work on.
Yeah.
I might need to actually work with a coach in regards to that, but that is definitely one I'm like,
Hmm.
nope. I
Same.
still can do the general stuff, but as like I
Mhm.
need some more variety because it still sounds the same effort.
I have the same problem,
Yeah.
honestly.
So you're talking about that theater acting obviously is projection, and when you step into a booth for the first time, for many voice actors, even myself, you tend to overproject or you get too energetic or something, or many things. You
Mhm.
don't portray the right emotion with the voice because that's all you have. What are maybe some of the things that you wish you would have known when you started voiceover?
So, the first and foremost thing that I think I wish I would have known is, truly how much effort goes into it and the hard work. I didn't come into it thinking it was going to be easy by any means. Um, but you have to have the commitment to freelancing first and foremost, which is you're your own business.
Hmm.
And I didn't understand the full gravity of that until I started doing this more as a part-time job.
Hmm.
You are your own. I mean, if you don't have an agent, you're your own agent. You have to go out and find your own auditions. And
Hmm.
even when you do have an agent, you still actively are looking for auditions most of the time.
Because your
So that
agent only
never really
gives you like
stops.
10% of work,
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly.
maybe.
Exactly. And then you have to, do marketing. You have to market yourself online and you have to network. You have to pay for classes. I don't know if necessarily everybody does, but a lot of people go to these workshops and these classes
Hmm.
to
Oh no, we lost Megan. Are we ready? Two.
we'll give it a shot. We'll do our best.
Yes, of course. And again, don't worry about it. I understand technology, and I was like, if we didn't need wait, we do need tech. Why do we rely on tech? I mean, it's the best and worst thing ever.
Truly. Truly it is.
Truly, truly is because we couldn't do what we do without it.
Yeah.
But speaking of which,
Yeah.
we're also talking about classes.
We were. We just can't seem to get through that part. Yeah, so what I was just saying is that I wish I would have known more about the classes that are offered because before I got into this, I didn't realize, I have an acting background, but you still want to continue pursuing, these acting, especially like specialized um, workshops for voice acting, for dialects, for acting
Mhm.
behind the mic, because, like we've discussed, acting behind the mic can be very different than acting on stage. And it can also be
Yep.
similar. It just depends.
Yeah, that is very true. And I found that it is always important to take the classes because even the
Mhm.
professionals who have been doing it are still taking workshop, are still working with
Exactly.
coaches, and
Mhm.
sometimes maybe working with a coach is going to be the better option once you can. Um,
Mhm.
because a coach is going to be able to dial in you and take their
Right.
true time with you. I'm
Right.
working with a coach and we're working over commercial copy and really making sure I can have the full control I need over commercial copy so
Mhm.
that way I can then be able to do auditions with my wider variety, wider range.
Right.
And it has definitely helped. One of the things that um, I needed to work on is at the end of a sentence, especially in most copy, you want to go down. You don't want to go up. If you go
Mhm.
up, you sound younger, sound questionable. You're not sure. When you go
Mhm.
down, you're confident. And I was
Right.
like, oh, I mean, I knew that. I knew it, but I just mentally, it never happened. And
Mhm.
now when I read stuff, it's becoming more natural because we worked on it.
Right.
Um, so one of the things I would say definitely as a newer voice actor is definitely take the classes, definitely invest in this because like you said, voice acting is it's a job. People get into freelance unless you're doing it as a hobby. Don't get into voiceover not knowing because one of the things that
Exactly.
I went into it knowing it's a business
Mhm.
because I have a business previously. I have my own photography company.
Oh,
It's
cool.
I run my own photography business as well. So I kind of
That's so cool.
yeah. So I already have this entrepreneurial mindset in terms of like marketing and
Mhm.
branding and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I came into voice acting is like, it, you need to set a professional personality. And that's why I came into Twitter.
Mhm.
I try not to be personal and I'll share personal things, but I don't share opinions. I don't do this because it's going to offend one person or another. But yeah, putting on a perspective and an idea that you're putting on a professional persona, and I try to
Mm.
be as genuine as possible as well. I don't not be as genuine as I can. Like I'm
Yeah.
definitely as I try to be as personable as possible
Right.
while also acting professional. Yeah, it is definitely one of those things. Uh, so we're talking about how approaching voiceover
Mhm.
professionally, approaching it with the mindset that this is a business and
Mhm.
marketing, connecting, networking is very important. I've been using LinkedIn and oh my gosh, I am finding so much benefit from it. I just
Oh,
was
yeah.
talking to a guy who animated one of the scenes of Spider-Man in the last Marvel movie.
Really?
Yeah, so we actually had a small conversation. I was like, oh,
What?
and another person I was talking to, she worked for Illumination. So it's one of these things. It really opens the door to be able to reach out to these decision makers and to these people who might be able to do something for you. And obviously, you're not connecting. Don't connect. Don't network to get something from someone ever.
Mhm.
Connect with
Exactly,
people
yeah.
because you're interested. You want to know, and that's
Mhm.
why I did Behind the Slate. Is I want to know other voice actors, other industry professionals like
Mhm.
Megan Taylor, like Tony Weiss, like Sarah McManus, people like that. I just genuinely was interested in talking and getting to know you guys. And at the same time, who knows? And one of the things I always joke about is by doing this, we can laugh, we can make jokes, we can have
Mhm.
bad internet. Um, But at the same time, afterwards, I don't feel awkward of going, "Hey, Megan, hope you're feeling well. I heard you're sick.
Right.
How's that cold?" It's not awkward. I don't feel like I'm bursting into a personal space because
Mhm.
there's that connection.
Right.
And so this is kind of one of my avenues of being able to get to know people.
I
Um,
love that.
yeah. So that it's been a great avenue. So networking, connecting, being professional things. Now, this kind of ties in similarly. I actually said that right. I usually don't. Um, what's maybe a word of advice that you could give a new voice actor?
Just in general about voice
Just
acting?
in general, what is maybe one or two things that you just would think, hey, here's something that is very good to think about and to take into heart.
First and foremost, especially if you're coming into voiceover on Twitter, we have, this giant community of people. But kind of what you said before, don't network just to get things from people. Don't network to, just get advice from them or whatever, whatever. I
Mhm.
genuinely like to make friends with people. I like to connect with people on, a professional basis before I
Mhm.
even, even try to network in the sense of, "Hey, have you seen any auditions?" or "Do you have any advice about this or that?" or whatever.
Yeah.
Networking is just kinda like it's making friends, but in the business world.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to network because I feel like the word is really daunting, to reach out
Yeah.
to people and ask them things. But if you genuinely come into a networking situation being genuine and being
Mhm.
open, it's going to be much easier to make that connection with somebody and then be able to get those networking perks from them.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah,
the thing, again, networking is building a foundation, building a friendship. And I think a lot of people are like, oh,
exactly.
I'm in a network, so I can get something. No, 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 no. Build a friendship,
Yeah.
build a genuine, because then the thing is, I'm going to go, hey, Megan Taylor would be perfect for this. Hey, Megan, I saw this and I thought you'd be perfect. Here you go.
Mhm.
Because that comes with networking because you get to know each other and what
Yeah.
each person is good at in their wheelhouse
Mhm.
and what you think they would be fitting. So you go, "Hey, I just saw this. I thought you'd like it." That's the benefit of being friends with people,
Yeah,
and things like that. Because you're sharing with your friend. You're not sharing with a business partner
for sure.
because that you're not aiming for that. Another thing that I think that I saw recently and it always rings true is
Mhm.
be communicative communicative and responsive.
Yeah.
Um, because when people, especially casting directors, reach out to you, it is good and good business to get back to them. Don't ghost them
Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
drop the project without telling them why. I
Right.
just saw that recently. I'm in a project and they're waiting on someone's lines and they can't continue moving forward with the project because the person just stopped talking and responding. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if y- if it, if the person no longer wants to do the project, let them know.
Mhm.
Don't say anything because that's going to ruin your reputation. That's going to no one's going to want to work with you again.
Mhm.
And especially if you're very serious about uh anything. If you're serious about anything and you do that, you're literally gonna ruin your chances and you're
Right.
not going to be able to become and be able to pursue it at a fuller level. So one of the things is definitely
Yeah.
be easy to work with because a casting director is going to want to work with you again. One of the things I always hear is
Very.
you're so responsive, you get lines in so quickly and all this stuff because that is one of the things that I truly believe. I treat people the way I would like to be treated in the business.
Mhm.
And that's quick responses,
Mhm.
being genuine, being kind, and letting them know, "Hey, I'm sick. I will get these lines in as soon as possible. Don't leave them hanging." But
Right.
so,
And that's the thing too is, most of the time, casting directors will be very, uh they'll work with you, if
mhm,
you situations that come up, you know, just be communicative because a lot of times, this host one day, this person, so not only did you ruin your chances with that production, you might have ruined your reputation with the rest of the community, which
yeah.
doesn't look good for you.
And people talk. The
Yeah.
community talks. Uh,
Mhm.
honestly, if you ruin your chances with one casting director, you probably ruined your chances with about 15 or 20 who might tell other
Exactly.
people. Like it's a waterfall. So
Yeah.
it one bad. I this is what my father-in-law says. He goes, "I would rather have all good reviews and do whatever I can to do make someone happy because
Mhm.
one bad review can ruin you.
Mhm.
You could truly go from being wanted or needed or used
Mhm.
to literally being put on a blacklist or not, like bad reviews. And it's kind of even the same with life. You can
Yeah,
have 9 things correct. You make one mistake, people point at that mistake. Sadly,
exactly.
that's just how life is. So you make a mistake or you make a bad decision in terms of
Mm-hmm.
this, people are going to talk and it's going to spread and it's
Yeah.
not going to look good.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, yeah. Um, so speaking of projects and basically doing project like things, I have no, that was a horrible transition. um, possibly, or what, what is a project that you are most
I like
excited about?
it. I'm really excited about this game that we're developing. Um, Besides that, I have also been, because I'm a musician too. So
Yes.
one thing that I've been really excited about too is that I've been producing music, and I also write poetry. So I've
Yeah.
started to kind of, I'm starting to write those out on my YouTube channel because I I have a lot to say, and so I'm
Yeah.
really excited to be able to say it in a different context than, voice acting is one thing, but being able to tell your own stories through the way that you're out of pursuing
Yeah.
the.
I lost you a little bit, but I pieced it together. But yes, in regards to poetry and music, it is definitely one of those things to where it can provide a completely different emotion than voice acting can.
Mm-hmm,
I think just art in general is one of those things to where there's so many forms of art and it's beautiful in its all different aspects. Um, I'm a drummer,
mm-hmm.
so I mean, obviously, drumming is not beautiful by itself. It can be,
It
depending
can
on
be.
what you're drumming, what you're playing. But I play the drum set, so that usually is not very beautiful by itself. But anyway, same aspect is music, singing, poetry, um, writing. It can be so genuine, and you can put
Mhm.
down so emotion into it. So I definitely agree. Um, Everyone, take a look at Megan's YouTube channel as well. Um, Link will be there to look at. So you can hear her poetry and her music and all that goodness. Um, where can people go to find more about you and more about your work? Now, speaking about your YouTube channel.
Well, I mean, you can go to my YouTube channel. I also have my Twitter where I post frequently. I have a lot of my links in my bio there. I also have a website. It's all of my social media is pretty much the same. It's always just Megan Taylor VA. So my website is megantaylorva.com.
Awesome.
So you can also, might be just a little outdated at this point, but you can still see a lot of my older work and you can see the link to my YouTube channel. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. It was a lot of fun with my internet disconnecting. I also really enjoyed meeting your daughter. That was really cool. It was a lot of fun. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Slate with Megan Taylor. If you like this episode, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell button to stay notified. I look forward to seeing you again. So it's just one of those things to where, hi, Lily. Oh no. Oh no, that was weird.
I was into it.
Oh no, bandwidth. Oh, there we go. I have you. What better way to get to know someone and to bond over bad internet?
Honestly, that everyone should just have to have a really bad Zoom call with somebody once, and then you're good.
Maybe I'll lose power. That would suck.